Welcome back to The Remote Life. My name is Han Talbot, also known as Han Meets World, and today we'll be chatting with Helene and Sandra from Wallflower Studios. Based in Slovenia, they have been building their separate portfolios individually, but are now joining forces to create their digital agency, Wallflower Studios, all while producing content about their home and travels. In this episode, we talk about building a remote work portfolio, the journey of a new business, and why Slovenia is a must for remote lifers and digital nomads. So grab a coffee, a tea, or something stronger, and let's get started. Sandra, Helene, welcome to The Remote Life. How are you guys?
Great.
Awesome. So to dive straight into it, connect the dots for us. What are your backgrounds and how did you guys meet?
I'm Helene, SEO, content, marketing, research, everything specialist. I have a background in anthropology and I'm obsessed with culture, travel, marketing, all of that good stuff.
And I'm Sandra. I also do content marketing, and my background is more in social media and influencer marketing.
Amazing. And why don't you guys tell us a little bit more about Wallflower Studio as well?
We started our agency. It's a content marketing agency in September. Yeah, we offer an array of services from content marketing, SEO, content production, influencer marketing. And we're trying to concentrate on travel and sustainable living when it comes to our clients.
I love it. So succinct, so business-like, very well done. And speaking of travel and sustainability, so obviously we are currently sat in Slovenia, in Ljubljana, and you guys also do a bit of content creating yourselves. So tell us a bit about that.
I have had a travel blog, Wandering Helene, for, maybe like 7-8 years or so. It's been a bit of a hobby. As I left the US, I wanted a way to remember the places that I went, share it with my family. And through it, I just started having a love of creating content. And yeah.
I love that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same. I've had my blog for ages. It started as a beauty blog, but it eventually transitioned into travel. And I'm also doing YouTube and now TikTok as a content creator as well. So yeah, it's really fun.
You're having a little TikTok epiphany at the moment.
Yes, I'm very excited about it.
I particularly loved your video on those little robots that serve cake and coffee up there. So the girls at the weekend took me on a fantastic little travel tour of Lake Bled and Lake Boheme, and we stopped off in this insane little cafe that had robots with trays and coffee and cake, and oh my gosh, it was the best thing ever, honestly. We couldn't stop staring. When people look at dogs, it was the same kind of thing. It's so cute.
It is. It's so fun.
Yeah, so you can check out Sandra's videos on TikTok for that one. Taking a step back for a second, how would you go about securing clients or work in the beginning when you first both went remote? It's one I got asked on Twitter from a few people. So yeah.
To be honest, because I started working at a PR agency when I lived in London, and then I worked for an influencer. And on the side, I started freelancing, actually for Slovenian companies, funnily enough. And then, when I moved back, I went full-time freelance, and it was mostly word of mouth, to be honest, for me. Yeah, it's just previous clients recommending me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's how I got most of my work, to be honest.
No, great.
Yeah.
The same for you, Helene?
No, actually, it's very different for me. I started freelancing / remote work, I guess, back in 2012. So I've been doing it for a long time.
Oh, gee.
Yeah. It was back when Upwork was called something else, which I cannot remember off the top of my head right now. From there, I started working with universities and editing research and helping people do research. And then transitioned to SEO last year, full time. And I find my clients in different Facebook groups, on Twitter. Women in Tech SEO is probably one of the greatest resources of all time. A lot of my clients I found through there.
Amazing. Cool. And here we are today. So when you guys are obviously you kind of have to balance your own schedules and things like that, obviously with an agency, obviously with your own client work, and then content on top of that. What kind of ways how do you best balance your workload, basically? I know Helene's got a great story from the weekend for that.
Oh, yeah. I feel like we don't balance very well, or at least me, up until recently. I definitely haven't. I've been overworking myself for years because it's just a lot. But yeah, I'm trying to be conscious of how much I work, and I'm trying to stop working at a certain point in the day now to have these evenings off. And I'm trying to keep at least one day, like either Saturday or Sunday off, to just kind of relax, because yeah, working 24/7 is not the one anymore. I'm getting old.
For sure. And I think what I love absolutely as well is that in Slovenia, like there is literally whole rules around like not working on Sundays. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it definitely helps to like kind of, since everybody's sort of in this mindset, you're like, okay, this is just the day I typically stay home. Some people, they go out for a hike or go to lunch, but I just stay home and do whatever I want.
Do you have any like different ways, Helene, for like managing your workload, or are you kind of similar, just sort of deal with it as it comes?
I try to keep a balance. I try to keep a set amount of hours each day that I fulfill, and then try to at least dedicate, if not an hour or more, to my own personal content or Wallflowers, just whether it's doing research or making drafts of content. I try to do a little bit each day so that it's always growing. Of course, I cannot give all the hours that I want, but as long as you're keeping consistency, you won't lose track of what you're working towards. So I always find that really useful.
No, for sure. It's kind of, it's sounding like, I think what I love the most is that even people who have been doing remote work for years are kind of still on their own journey when it comes to managing their work. Like no day ever quite looks the same, which is great, but it doesn't mean that everybody still has the discipline. I think there's quite a weird sort of kind of stigma around where like you're a super disciplined person if this is what you do, and like you have a really strict schedule, which some people do, but I know for myself that I will never be one of those people that can have a very strict well kept schedule.
Yeah, I would say like I'm quite organized, but when you're working with several clients, they are not necessarily always. They have last minute projects you need to jump on, and I feel like that's what makes it hard for me to kind of organize my time, rather than, me not being conscious of how much I work on projects. Yeah, it's more of like a last minute deadlines that are ruining it for me. But I've definitely been getting better at it, I think.
I saw also that Portugal's actually introduced a whole law now around like employers can't contact their employees outside of work. Do you guys like have any like things that you do specifically, like so like when a client does, for example, say contact you on a day that isn't your contracted day, for example, like do you have any kind of boundaries around that? Or
I definitely didn't. But recently I have to say my clients have been amazing, and they have actually been really respectful of my time, and I don't have these issues anymore at the moment. But yeah, previously, even when I was employed full-time, I worked a lot in the off hours. So I definitely had to sort that out. But yeah, I think now it's good. And I'm definitely also conscious of that. So like if a future client would not be respectful of my time, I would definitely treat it differently than I used to, because it's important to take time off.
Have you noticed a kind of difference in client approach pre-pandemic and post-pandemic now at all? Like do you find that people are generally a bit more aware of the work-life balance?
I think that now a lot of them can relate because they're also working from home, whereas many of them were in an office, but now they are working from home. So I find that for me, it feels as if like I'm also on the team more in a way, because we're all at home. So it's like, it's not the separation of, oh, those are the people in the office and this is me here. I'm just some side person, but we're all from home. So it kind of feels a little different in this aspect.
My clients haven't really changed much pre and now pandemic. And actually a lot of the ones that I work with have been working remotely previously as well, or have like certain team members that are working remotely. So it hasn't been that much of a change for me personally. But, looking like wider, how others are dealing with as well, like my friends tell me about it. I think they're definitely more conscious of what it entails to work from home. Yeah.
Let's chat a bit about travel, which we absolutely love and adore. Do you get nervous at all before you head off to a new destination at all?
Does nervous excited count?
Yeah.
I personally just get a little nervous when I fly. It's just I'm not super, super fond of it. I do it, But it's not my favorite. I got very anxious, so I get nervous for this. But no, for going to a new place now, I'm beyond excited. That's my element.
Do you like kind of prepare? What about you, Sandra? Sorry.
Oh no, it's definitely more excitement for me as well. I'm actually, generally speaking, quite an anxious person, but traveling is that one thing that actually doesn't make me anxious, which is kind of weird. To me, I think the only anxious part about traveling is getting to the airport, because I always feel like I'm going to be stuck in a traffic jam. Yeah, by the time I'm at the airport, like, I'm all good.
I'm the same. I'm like, there are people, I've got friends who are like, oh my God, you're one of those people that arrives early. I'm like, yeah, but at least I'm then there. Like, I don't have a coffee, or like, I sit up and do work. I will never be one of those people that can arrive like 45 minutes before and be okay.
Yeah.
I'm a nervous wreck.
Same.
I don't mind being there early. Yeah, I just have a drink, work. It's nice.
100% get all settled into before you go. Do you prepare for like kind of setting off in any different ways? Like, I know for me, I research if I'm feeling nervous about anything, or like
if I would go somewhere new, I usually research like what are a few bits of places that I should know where they are, make sure that like I save my location on my Google Maps so I can always find it wherever I am in a new place if I get nervous. And sometimes I'll even create like a little document with some key phrases in the language, just so I have something to quickly like access if there's any problems.
Yeah, I also usually like make a little plan of what I want to see, or I research how to get to places, especially if I'll be using public transport, so that's always helpful with nerves. Yeah.
The reason I ask is because I see a few more people now than before are actually deciding to take the leap and become remote lifers. It's like everyone's gone like, okay, right, I've had time to reflect on my life in the last couple of years, and like, this is what I want to do. Or they're just so sick of being locked down in one place at this point. Like, therefore they want to get out. And I think there was anything that you would add on about like going nomad. Well, you guys aren't really nomads, but like going remote life, like kind of full time. Is there anything that you wish you'd known before, like taking that leap?
Years ago, I was sort of more in a nomadic position. I was moving from country to country, city to city, for about 5 years or so. And for that, I would say avoid contracts. Like not that you shouldn't have them, because you should have them for everywhere you live, because there were times when I did not get a contract and it was a problem. But if you sign on to like a 6-month or a 1-year contract, I just find that really locked me into a place when something might have come up, and then you're like, oh, I'm stuck here. So if there's an option, I would say like doing an Airbnb or something a bit more flexible. I find that kind of gives me a bit more peace of mind. I'm not stressing about like everything within the contract of switching homes.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, I've never been fully nomadic. Before I was based in London, now I'm in Slovenia, but have definitely traveled a lot, so especially for like longer periods, for a few months. So for me, it was always just to like make sure that my hotel room has like a table, a desk, because surprise, surprise, not all of them do. And good internet connection is really important for my work. So if I had that, I was like, okay, we're good.
I find that more and more as well. I'm seeing more Airbnb reviews that actually say great Wi-Fi, poor Wi-Fi, and those are the things that I pay attention to as well.
Yeah.
It's the worst when like you're on a Zoom meeting and like you're lagging behind like the rest of the teams, then you suddenly butt in. They're like, yeah, we literally just covered that. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. And especially when it comes to uploading videos, which is something that I always do. Oh my God, like the amount of times I was sitting there for 5 hours waiting for a video to upload, you really don't want that. So if you can get like a stable internet connection, those like portable Wi-Fis are amazing. You can get like multi-country one. Those are my lifesavers usually. Yeah.
Which one do you go for?
I have used iVideo before.
Okay.
Yeah, I really liked it. I used that one like 3 times already. In New Zealand, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, always was really good. Yeah.
And that's a good little segue actually. It's like what would be your like top tool that you need like in order to get by with your remote life?
Yeah, portable Wi-Fi. I don't know, just the standard ones, laptop. I don't know. I can't think of anything like.
I cannot live without my Notion on my laptop. I mean, my entire life is in Notion.
I'm looking at like that weirdly right now because literally everybody not everybody, I've had a few people on the podcast now who literally have said the same. The amount of times we've been gushing about Notion already.
I started the obsession with Helene.
Yeah, I was on Evernote, which was kind of similar, but not as beautiful, I will say. And I switched to Notion after I was a premium Evernote. Like, I could not live without Evernote. I was a premium user for years. I saw Notion, and within a week I had canceled my Evernote, and then got a premium Notion. Yeah. And I cannot live without it.
Yeah, it's just great. My whole life is in there, basically.
Yeah. I even have just the online version. So Brogan, who was in series 2, she showed me the online version of it. Like, it's not just the app. And I was like, geez, even this? Like, it's just amazing, because then, like, you've got all your notes, like, in one place. Yeah, you can go through calendars. It's just, you can make it look pretty. And yeah, it's just the most satisfying thing ever.
Yeah.
Okay, so consensus is Notion. Right, got it. Okay. Bring it back to travel and the things that we love, absolutely love. Why should Slovenia be on the remote life / digital nomad list?
It has fast internet.
Yeah, true.
It does.
Good internet.
Yeah, we have very good internet here.
Yeah. I think it's also like a good work / explore balance, because everything is so close. You can literally go on a minimum adventure every day if you want to, because everything is like an hour or 2 away from Ljubljana, which is the capital.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you found that there are a good few communities to get involved with here? Or, like, do you find that people would like to meet up at all? Or
yeah, I mean, if you go into any of the expat immigrant groups and post that you want to meet up with people for a drink or a work session, there's always people who are willing to just join in. Yeah, there used to be regular meetings pre-pandemic for a few different groups, and it was a mix of international people, creators, freelancers, remote workers, and yeah, there was a really nice community forming. I'm not sure where it will go after the pandemic, but I think it will kick back up soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so to draw people back in, what is the one thing that you're like, right, you've got to come for this?
The food.
Yeah, the food and wine, but also I think the nature in Slovenia it just feels unreal some days. You're looking at it and you're like, how is this real?
Yeah. Like I said, we have everything. Like, it's so versatile. We have the mountains, the sea, like everything is so close and quite non-tourist yet. So it's a good spot.
Well, that's a fantastic mix, and I can definitely also agree on the nature. Like, when we were driving through the mountains the other day, I was just kind of looking out going, wow, I am in Narnia.
Basically, Narnia was filmed in Slovenia.
Exactly. Great place to come to. So just thinking about, like, obviously you mentioned, Sandra, that, like, it's not quite as touristy. What are your general thoughts on kind of remote lifers and their relationship with tourism and visiting, like, in general, moving forward?
Yeah, to be honest, I love it, because remote workers usually have like a slow way of traveling, and it's more of like a mixture of traveling and living, which is definitely something that I think is the future of travel, slow travel. Because a lot of tourists who come to Slovenia only come for the weekend, and they go to Ljubljana and Lake Bled usually. Those are the 2 stops, or maybe Postojna. But yeah, if you're here for longer, you can explore more of the country, which is also good for tourism.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that somebody who is doing remote work and is here, they're having a steady income probably, so they're spending locally, they're probably staying locally. As long as they're supporting local businesses, they're a positive economic influence to the country rather than a minus in an economic sense.
No, absolutely. And Ljubljana, or Slovenia, is now the green capital.
Yes.
Sorry, yeah. I went on a free tour yesterday, so I was trying to retain as much information as possible, and obviously that failed massively. But yeah, no, obviously in terms of sustainability and just being able to, like, it's funny how much that Slovenia does already in general, that we obviously has been discussed in the travel industry from a sustainability point of view. Like, is there anything that you'd add on to that, or anything that you're particularly interested in about what they do in that work?
I think Slovenia is quite unique because our way of life is quite sustainable as it is. Like, Slovenes are famous for having their own gardens and things like that. I don't know, just translate to travel very well. So it's not something that I think we did consciously. It's just always been there. So I think we're in a good position to make it even more sustainable.
You were telling me, like, how everyone has, like, kind of a local farmer that they will know that they get the vegetables and the fruit from as well. And I was thinking that, yeah, that's quite a community you've got going there. Like, that's epic.
Yeah, we've never stopped doing it since, the early days.
Awesome.
And now the world is catching on.
Yeah.
Get yourself a farmer.
Yeah.
So do you think that remote lifers and kind of more digital nomads could potentially have a part in, like, I say tourism recovery, like, but essentially, like, I suppose the travel industry has been struggling for the last couple of years. So do you think there's anything that they could do or that could be helpful from that perspective?
I think that if there's some type of content creator or active on a social media platform, if they're just talking about their experiences, just like you were sharing photos and videos of Ljubljana and Slovenia, you can see that people kind of get excited and then they're interested. There might always be one or two people who are like, oh, wow, I've never considered that. But then they see someone that they know personally post it and then they choose to come here. So that helps with tourism, definitely.
And definitely exploring other parts of the country as well, not just the top destinations that are super visited already. But yeah, because there's so much more that you can explore.
One final question from me. Fill in the blank. Home is where?
My chickens are.
I would feel like my dogs. So we're kind of the same.
Sandra, Helene, thank you so much for being on The Remote Life. This has been amazing. And yeah, make sure to check out all of their socials and links that we'll add in at the bottom.
Thank you
for having us.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Remote Life. And thank you, Sandra and Helene, for your awesome insights. You can find links to their websites and socials below. Tag Sandra at Sandra Potazek, Helene at Wandering Helene, and myself, Han, at Han Meets World. And let us know where your favourite remote life destination is. You can also find the podcast on Instagram at The Remote Life Podcast. Thank you so much again for listening, and we can't wait to remote work with you again soon.